Hello and welcome to a Flying Reporter aerodrome review. I've just departed Blackpool. I'm in the northwest of England and I'm heading off to Carlisle, currently flying over Morecambe Bay.
The airport has been effectively deserted for 3 years, closed since the outbreak of COVID, but the team there has an announcement.
Carlisle Airport is now open!
Yes, it's open again, and the airport has asked me to pop in to show you that it wants to welcome visitors once more. Carlisle is a cathedral city in northern England, just 8 miles south of the Scottish border, close to the Lake District National Park.
So the weather's a little bit cloudy today with some rain about, some cumulus clouds. I just needed to get past Walney and Morecambe Bay, and they've got their gliding and restricted areas. We've got a danger area up ahead which I don't think is active. Worth knowing if you're coming up to Carlisle, this is very often active, this Delta 406 Alpha. And we've got, I think it's Sellafield nuclear plant here, which is restricted up to 2,000 feet.
Once clear of all the danger areas and restricted airspace, I find some gaps in the cloud to descend before turning inbound to Carlisle along the Solway Firth.
Carlisle radio, Golf Bravo Mike India Victor is 14 miles to the west inbound. Request aerodrome information.
Golf Mike India Victor, Carlisle radio, good morning. It's runway 24 in use, the QNH 1005 with a QFE 998 hectopascals.
Runway 24, QNH 1005, QFE 998, and say circuit direction today, Golf India Victor.
Circuit direction is usually left-hand, sir, but circuit's not active at present. You join how you like.
Roger, intend to join right-hand downwind, runway 24, Golf India Victor.
Golf India Victor, Roger, advise downwind.
Wilco, Golf India Victor. So we're going to do a right-hand circuit here. It's normally left-hand circuits, but they were happy with us doing a right-hand circuit. Obviously, when you come, you would do what they advise, I presume.
Some of the charts are still showing Carlisle as having an ATZ, but since it reopened it has decided to become unlicensed, so there is no longer an ATZ. We're landing on Carlisle's main runway 24 today, which has a landing distance of just over 1,400 metres. It's in exceptionally good condition, having been reprofiled in 2012, but that didn't stop me giving my undercarriage a bit of a bashing.
Landed a bit flat.
Golf India Victor, welcome to Carlisle, and when ready it'll be next left through Foxtrot and parking start apron and next to the control tower available.
Next left Foxtrot and onto the apron by the control tower, Golf India Victor.
Coming up in a moment, I'll explore the deserted GA terminal here and take a look around the local area. But first, I want to thank AOPA UK for sponsoring the Flying Reporter Aerodrome Review. I'm a member of AOPA because I value the work they do to preserve our flying freedoms. They soldier away behind the scenes, scrutinising government policy, propose changes to legislation and airspace, and help pilots if they get into a spot of bother with the regulator. Right now, Flying Reporter followers can get a 25% discount off new 1- and 2-year AOPA UK memberships by scanning the QR code, clicking the link on the screen, or the link in the video description. For pilots like me who regularly travel north-south between England and Scotland up the country's west coast, it's great to have Carlisle open again. It's a well-placed spot for a fuel and rest stop. They now have a reliable supply of avgas, and Jet A1 is coming, I'm told. The landing fees at the time of recording are very reasonable indeed. Visiting GA aircraft currently parks on the main apron with access to its flashy terminal. But where is everyone? So welcome to Carlisle, which is now finally open again. And wow, these are the GA facilities as they stand. This was originally built as a business aviation lounge, but as you can see, there's none of that going on at the moment, and so they're using it for GA, and this is the lounge that you will use if you fly in your light aircraft or light helicopter or whatever. Some very comfortable sofas here, a pool table, a BD-5B micro aircraft, which is of the type used in the James Bond movie Octopussy. Obviously toilets, and round here, while they haven't actually got an actual cafe here yet, they've got a seating area so you can relax, and what they call a refuel station, so you can take your pick from a variety of soft drinks, some crisps, some little cakes here, some croissants, or coffee even. And then through here is the passenger terminal. It was used for just less than 2 years before COVID hit, and now, as you can see, it is deserted. What a shame. This used to be a thriving place for commercial passenger aircraft and general aviation, quite a bit quieter now. What's going on?
Well, obviously, we're starting right back at the bottom again. Unfortunately, with COVID and the pandemic, when that hit, that was the end of our commercial operations, which only started in July 2019.
Yeah, less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years, unfortunately, in March 20, that was the end of the commercial. And this building that we're sitting in now was built specifically for the commercial operations, for the passenger flights. Lovely brand new building. Unfortunately, all that's gone now, and we're back to starting right at the bottom again.
The reasons around why you closed and remain closed for so long are fairly complicated, and I don't want to go over that particularly, but it was a commercial business decision, issues around perhaps licensing, staffing, that kind of thing. But you're open now, unlicensed, but open now, and want the GA community to know that you're here and you want to give them a bit of love and let them use these lovely facilities. So what's your plan? What are you trying to do?
We want general aviation to come back to Carlisle Airport. We want them to come in here, feel like they're very welcome, come in, feel relaxed, just make themselves at home, have a bite to eat, basically just enjoy coming to Carlisle Airport.
And there's lots to explore in the local area. Why should people come to Carlisle and maybe spend a few days here?
Well, of course, we're only half an hour from the Lake District. We've got Scotland, which is 9 miles away. You can go across, visit up to Gretna. You've got Hadrian's Wall. You've got the Pennines. You've got so many places around here. It's an ideal base. Anybody wanting to go walking, cycling, it's an ideal base.
Let's just talk about the practicalities of visiting. I think you prefer PPR. People can ring up and book in. What are your operational hours? When's your air to ground operating, that kind of thing?
At the moment, we have air ground available Monday to Friday, basically between 9 in the morning and 5 in the evening. We are PPR, so we do like people to book in with us, just to give us a call, just so that we do know in advance what's coming into us. We will not turn anybody away who doesn't PPR. If they call up on the radio, that's absolutely fine. We are open 7 days a week, but if you want to land at a weekend, you're welcome to land. We just need to know in advance, just so that we do have the staff available. There might not be anybody to speak to you on the radio, but you can make blind calls.
In terms of parking, tie-downs, hangarage, that kind of thing, now you were kind enough to let me shelter in your hangar because the winds were my plane's a little bit leaky sometimes. And it was a bit windy to put the cover on yesterday. So you let me go in the hangar, and you do have a few hangar spots if people want to hangar overnight or whatever. I don't think you've got tie-downs particularly, have you, on the apron?
No, I think we're limited in the tie-down side, but of course there's grass around the edge of the apron, so if anybody has any of the really light aircraft and they can tie down around there, absolutely no problem at all.
What about disabled access and the facilities in here?
Yeah, well, this building was built to suit disabled passengers as well. We have wheelchairs, all the doors. It was designed to cater, for people with disabilities.
Getting about, how difficult or easy is that? I noticed a few bus stops not too far away, but I think they only kind of serve the local villages, really, don't they? There
is a bus route, but I think it's limited to once an hour at the moment. It did pass by the north side of the airfield, but of course there are car hire companies in Carlisle, so we can arrange car hire for anybody. We do have a local taxi company in Brampton, which is only 3 miles away, or Carlisle, which is 7-9 miles away. We can arrange taxis for anybody.
What's the future going to hold? Because people watching this may have been reading the news about the company that owns the airport. It owns Southend as well. It's breaking up the assets. It wants to sell this, doesn't it? As a going concern, I would have thought. You know, you're welcoming GA now. People will always be suspicious when they say, we want you back. And then somebody else owns it. I suppose you don't quite know what the future's going to hold, but would I be right in thinking that the intention is that this remains a GA airfield?
Going forward, it will be a GA airfield, and we're also hoping the military are going to be big users of the airfield. We've already had a few exercises in the last couple of years. The RAF have held their Cobra Warrior exercise twice here. They're planning another one for September, and we've just held the Royal Netherlands Air Force for a month in May. They've based themselves here, and they're coming back next year.
You're about to, at the moment, the point of filming this, and you may have seen on my arrival, you've got an ATZ. Because you're unlicensed, you can't have an ATZ anymore, and that will disappear from the charts. There's also parachuting on there. Is there any parachuting?
There's no parachuting
going on now. You've worked here most of your working life, by the sounds of it.
I was born here.
You were born here.
I was born here.
You must then really want to see this place thrive again.
Yeah, I started on the 30th of June 1986, and I came in as a receptionist, and I was coming to check in passengers. We did have flights, Dundee, Carlisle, Heathrow, 5 days a week. I was using a HS748, operated by a company called Euroair. We also had general aviation operating, and it was the best time to be in aviation. I absolutely loved it. You couldn't get me away from this place. I used to stay on after my shifts. I just absolutely love it. Aviation's in my blood. My 2 boys have grown up at Carlisle Airport and both in the aviation industry. So yeah, I was born here. I've seen everything, so many military exercises. Most of the royal family have all been through Carlisle. Regular visitors as well. The Queen came, Princess Diana was here. She sunbathed out the back of our terminal. All of the royals have been through. I've seen everything at Carlisle Airport.
Still to come, where to stay if you need a stopover nearby, and we explore the airfield's based museum. But first, it's time to get off site and see what the local area has to offer. So Dale, who's one of the firefighters, do you have more than one?
We do have more than one.
Well, he does have more than one. He's one of the firefighters at Carlisle, and he's offered to take me on a little tour of the area, which is fantastic. First stop, the city of Carlisle itself, and I quickly discover that Dale's skills extend way beyond putting out fires and dealing with aircraft incidents. Well, it turns out that Dale is not just a first-class firefighter at Carlisle, he's also a bit of a local tour guide, because it turns out he's an amateur historian. You studied history, I think, didn't you, at
That's
university?
correct, yeah.
He's recently been on an archaeological dig, and he's telling me all sorts of things about Carlisle Castle. What do you know about the castle then?
Well, not so important these days in terms of national defence strategies, but throughout the Middle Ages, Carlisle Castle was quite important. Captured briefly by Bonnie Prince Charlie during one of the Jacobite rebellions. Briefly housed Mary Queen of Scots during her imprisonment by Elizabeth I. And yeah, generally looks nice. Classic castle, Motte and Bailey, built by the Normans, I think, originally. But now it's just a gem in Northern Castle.
Excellent. So come to Carlisle, pay your landing fee, and get a free history lesson as well. You can't come to this part of Britain and not take a trip to see the world-famous Hadrian's Wall. So this is Hadrian's Wall. Built for what purpose?
Yeah, this was built as one of the northern frontier, basically, of the Roman Empire. So to defend what was Roman Britain from invasion from Celtic tribes from the north.
And this point here is a section of the wall. There was one every mile.
Yeah,
and
so
what was that? What it was? Do you call it a castle or something?
Yeah. So you see just down there, where the people are stood. That's what they call a mile castle. Obviously, the clue's in the name.
Yeah.
Every mile or so along the wall, there'd be a small castle manned by a few soldiers, just to keep watch on that section of the wall. Those men would also be mustered if there was an attack on the wall. And men from local forts behind the wall and from the mile castles would be mustered to defend the wall.
Hadrian's Wall is a World Heritage Site and the most important monument built by the Romans in Britain. It took 15,000 men just under 6 years to build. It stretches nearly 80 miles from coast to coast.
The wall would probably have only stood at about 9 feet tall, I think at its highest. But its height would often be exaggerated by, you see on the other side of the road, there's a small mound that runs on the other side. Just beyond the wall would be a ditch that they called a vallum. Which would obviously exaggerate from the north the size of the wall.
Do you know what I think we should do? We should set up a fly-in and local tour. And I think we could all jump in a minibus with you, have a fly-in to Carlisle, and you could take us on a little local history tour.
That would suit me. I don't see why not, as long as there's a pub lunch somewhere along the way.
Now, I do like in these aerodrome review videos to give you an idea of somewhere you might want to stay should you be stopping overnight. Less than a mile away from the airport is The Fleece at Rolholm. It's a 23-room hotel which is dog friendly. There's a welcoming restaurant, bar and lounge area. They do offer fine dining and afternoon teas and coffees too. The rooms were very modern and comfortable. Well, this is my room, and the first thing you'll notice about it is the kind of natural colour scheme, the textured carpet, which is very comfortable underfoot, and then as you walk into the bedroom, a big wide space with a wonderful king-size bed with plush, plumped up linen. We've got sort of oak furniture throughout, real oak furniture throughout, and there's plenty of storage spaces here, lots of drawers and cupboards to put your clothes and other items in. A desk area where you can work from. You can see that I'm working from that area myself at the moment, and then a kind of relaxing area here with 2 seats, an overhung lamp. One thing you will notice about these rooms is that they're kind of built with the current modern traveller in mind, in the sense that you won't be short of electricity sockets. The number of hotels I visit, and there's just like one socket to charge all your devices, and who travels like that these days? So I've counted at least 8 main sockets, and each of these 8 main sockets has an additional USB charging point as well. So 8 main sockets, 8 USB charging sockets. You won't be short of juice here. We've got a little station here with a coffee machine, all kind of coffees and teas here, some biscuits and a kettle. We've got a little cupboard here which is our wardrobe, and then the second cupboard, again full size. There's 4 shelves in here along with some robes, a safe and a fridge which has some complimentary soft drinks and alcoholic drinks. And then into the bathroom. The first thing you notice walking into the bathroom is it's got underfloor heating, and that is just wonderful. The basin here has got one of these, in fact the bath and the basin have got these waterfall style sinks. And then the shower is amazing. I mean, it's like something from outer space. You've got 3 buttons and a temperature control. If I press the first button, we get the rainfall shower. The second button, we get the shower head, and the third button, we've got 4 jets that protrude and blow water out at you. I had a very comfortable stay at the Fleece. When I booked in July, rooms cost £150 a night, midweek, on a room-only basis. The hotel is offering Flying Reporter followers a 10% discount on bookings made directly with them. Just call them up on the phone and quote my discount code TFR. Back to the airfield then, and it's home to its own museum. The Solway Aviation Society keeps a collection celebrating aircraft manufacturing in the 60s and 70s and aircraft with connections to Cumbria. It's a very impressive collection you've got out here in the kind of aircraft garden. What are your prized exhibits?
Prized exhibits are originally the Vulcan. That is the main attraction for everything. We have got the Bedford bus from Bangers and Cash that a lot of people know about. That has been attracting a lot of attention. We've recently just purchased a Jaguar. That's now been going through its refurbishment, and a McDonnell Phantom as well, which is probably one of the only ones in a private museum in the UK.
Inside, there are exhibits covering Carlisle's Second World War history when it was RAF Crosby-on-Eden. There's also a fascinating room dealing with the British Blue Streak rocket programme. The museum is open Fridays, weekends and bank holidays from April through to November. An adult ticket costs £6. While it is on the airfield, it's not exactly easy to access at the moment, so do check before you visit. Also over on the north side of the airfield are flight training schools and Northumberland Aircraft Maintenance. I really have enjoyed visiting Carlisle Airport. I know there's some uncertainty about its future, but at least for now, these impressive facilities are available for GA visitors. Well, that concludes my visit to Carlisle. A wonderful facility, a great place to stop and explore, and perhaps somewhere to refresh and refuel on a journey either north or south between England and Scotland. My thanks to Carlisle for inviting me, and if you'd like me to come and visit your airfield, then get in touch through my website. This video has been sponsored by AOPA UK. Don't forget to sign up now for a discounted membership, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so as not to miss the next episode. Fly safely, my friends.